Hey everyone! Sorry, I know I was supposed to start a minute ago. Can everybody hear me? What? It's creepy? Oh, yay! Okay, I'm glad everything's working. This is our first time on YouTube Live, so there might be some bugs, but hopefully everything works out. No, they're not smiling because they're suffering. They're smiling because they're coding something amazing together. Um, for everyone who is new here, let me post the link to join and code along with us in the chat. I don't know how to add my face to this yet, so I'll try and add my face next time. But for those of you who have been here before, my name's Leandra. So I'm the same face that was in the Zoom clubs. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to get started. I'll try and align these windows. It's on YouTube because we were having too many people for Zoom. We were having like 70 people join, and it didn't make sense for a Zoom context. Not issues, more like it was just too many people, and I wanted to open it up and make it a little bit more casual. So I created this YouTube version instead. I thought it would be more interesting. I thought it would be more casual. I thought people would be able to drop in more easily. And yeah, so basically we're going to start with the first project, create a filter. Some of you have done it before, some of you haven't. It's an absolute super basic introduction to JavaScript and VidCode. And we are going to kind of go through the whole course here. I know previously we've been like jumping around, but now that we're in new YouTube format, I'll try and be louder. Now that we're in like a new YouTube format, I think it would be fun to just start with the first one and then just go through things in order, which we've never done. We sort of just jumped around project to project. So now on Tuesday Club, we'll actually be getting to more advanced material. It's over 9,000. It was not over 9,000, but it was a lot of people. And the chat was just getting crazy. And so I thought that YouTube would make more sense. So let's go ahead and get started here. So for those of you who are new, Coding Club meets every week, Tuesday at 3 p.m. at this time. Previously Zoom, now YouTube. Let's see what else. We use a platform called VidCode to learn how to code. VidCode is a really fun place to learn how to code. You can upload your own photos and videos and graphics and music and make really beautiful projects that might go on to be masterpieces one day. We in Thursday Club are on to games now. So if you are interested in Thursday Club, that is still on Zoom, where we get into more advanced material, just let me know. We're not doing Snapchat filters today. We're going to get to those later. We're just going to start with making a more of like an Instagram filter or like a filter you'd see on Photoshop. To get the access to Thursday Club, so Tuesday Club, like I said, we go through more introductory projects, although it is going to be a progression now. If you've been to 3 or more clubs, email me. I just posted my email in the chat, and I'll send you the information for Thursday Club that meets at the same time. Okay, cool. So now that the intro is done, let me show you around. Like I said, if you haven't made an account, go ahead and make one here. So today we're going to be making a project that looks kind of like this. Like I said, some of you have done this already. I'm also going to show you a secret function at the end that lets you add text and emojis to your project. This is another example. This is the Snapchat filter project that we're going to be getting to in future weeks, where we actually make like a location filter with code. Later on, we make things like animations. Other Snapchat filters like this one where we actually use our webcam. Hi, I wish you guys could see me. Oh, it's not loading. All right, well, we make projects that use our webcam. And we're gonna make games. Right now in Thursday Club, we're making a game that looks like this, where we're a bee and we like walk around and collect things. And the objects are generated in a new place every time we run the game. Cool. So with that introduction, let's go ahead and start. Today we're starting with the absolute first project, Rachel, create a filter, and going from there. So to start, go ahead and log into your accounts at vidcode.com. If you don't have an account, use that link that I gave to join. And go ahead and sign in and press start coding. For me, it's going to be here. For you, it's going to be this big blue button. I'm just in a teacher account, so mine are in a different order. This is the pathway that we're going through now in Club. We're starting, like I said, with create a filter. Next week, we're going to do recreate a filter and digital quilt. The week after, we'll do make a meme. The week after, we'll do Doge meme. The week after, we'll do doodle augmented reality. We'll do a final project together. And then we'll do things like the Snapchat filter, slideshows, code the news, things like that. So go ahead and click into create a filter to get started. If anyone wasn't able to do that, I'm also going to post the link just directly in here. You can always go to it directly in the chat. So this is your VidCode code editor. This is where we're going to spend most of the time in Club. There's going to be instructions on the left for each one, the code editor in the middle, your actual canvas here on the right, and then your media gallery down here. You can see there's a bunch of stuff in mine. You can always upload your own stuff or record things from your webcam. You can also, in the graphics section, choose your own stickers, upload your own things, upload your own music. So there's all kinds of options here. Feel free to take a picture of yourself or record yourself for any of these projects. But for most of these, I'm probably just going to use the sample media, at least in the beginning. So to start, go ahead and choose what background you want for this create a filter project. As always, you're welcome to follow along with me and make something super unique. Or you're welcome to watch and then code along later. To start, go ahead into your backgrounds area and just drag in the background of your choice. You're going to see it's going to populate your code editor with the code that makes your canvas change. Whenever I make a change in my code, I see the effects in my canvas right away. So I always have the option to use the actual interface or to type things in directly. It doesn't matter that much right now what you do. Later on, when we make things that are interactive, when we make things that are more like games, or use click events, you're going to want to actually be able to change things on the code side, not just using the interface. So the language that we are learning today, and I didn't go through the presentation like I sometimes do, but the language that we're learning today is called JavaScript. And JavaScript is one of many programming languages that we could use, but it's basically just a way to talk to computers Computers are pretty dumb and need pretty explicit instructions to do what we want. So we've made these things called programming languages to talk to them because we can't use English like we could with a person. JavaScript is one of many programming languages, but I really like it as a first language to learn because it's the language behind websites. So when I do things on VidCode, like if I like, or any website, if I do things on any website and I do things like open this menu or like open a modal, it's JavaScript behind making that happen. So you can really easily take what you're learning on VidCode and what you're learning in Club and apply it to websites or apply it to creative projects that you can share online really easily. So that's why I like JavaScript. In college, I learned a language called C++, and as we were learning it, I wasn't even sure how to use it off of a university computer. So I find JavaScript to be like a much friendlier first language to learn. For anyone who just joined, I just posted the link in the chat to jump right to where we are. So go ahead and click next. And you're going to have this block appear in the effects area. More of these blocks are going to appear as you go through the tutorial. For those of you who do have experience in like Scratch or Hopscotch or other block-based languages, these are going to be really familiar to you. The difference is on VidCode that when you drag these in, they're going to turn into JavaScript in your code editor right away. So they don't stay blocks, they turn into code. They create something called a function in your code. A function is basically like a verb. VidCode has all these like pre-written functions for you, but as you go through Club, you're actually going to start writing your own functions and giving the computer your own instructions that we can call in these blocks. But for now, we're just going to use the functions that VidCode has available. And go ahead and drag in tint. Tint's a fun one because you can click into this color name and choose a color that you like. It makes something called a hex color here. The second number here is the amount, how much it's going to affect your project. So these things, these like words getting passed into this function are called arguments. And they're things that essentially change the function. So color invert doesn't have any arguments because it only does one thing. It only inverts my project. But tint, I can do a bunch of things with it. I can make it blue. I can make it like a little bit blue, or like a lot blue, or like completely blue. And I have that control over it because of these things called arguments. Go ahead and keep clicking through, and you're going to have more blocks available. What they do is kind of across the board, black and white. It's like a pretty extreme effect. So this, it's like totally not showing up. There we go. So it's going to kind of posterize your project. For the console, you can like hardly tell what it is now. Grayscale, just like totally, let's get rid of black and white. Grayscale gets rid of all of the colors in your project, but it's like less extreme than black and white. It just sort of makes everything just this like kind of blank gray color. You can see that there's no arguments in here either. There's no amount to grayscale. It's either on or it's off. I can also use Kaleidoscope, which is a really fun one. Kaleidoscope makes things really interesting, and I can like put in 100 and just make it a perfect circle. Kaleidoscope is fun. Some of the other options I have here, I have Vignette, which is going to give me this like cool border around my project. I have Noise. I can pixelate my project. So play around, make something that looks really good to you. The other kind of trick to this is that my code is getting run in order. And if you decide you don't like an effect, you can just delete it. So if I decided that I don't like kaleidoscope anymore, I can just delete it and it'll go away. So the other trick to this is that your code is getting run in order, the same way you would read a book. So my concert's getting added, and then the color's getting inverted, and then grayscale's getting added, and then kaleidoscope is doing its thing, and then I have my border, and then I have noise, and then I have pixelate. But if I changed the order of these effects, they would look completely different. So let's go ahead and move vignette before color invert. Let's go ahead and move pixelate before kaleidoscope. And let's put grayscale at the very beginning. That actually didn't make that much of a difference. But I end up with this like totally different looking project. If I move noise also before kaleidoscope, it's gonna look different because each effect is adding on the previous effects and what they've made my project look like. So once you kind of unlock that, once you realize how powerful sequencing is with your project, you sort of have like unlimited possibilities with just these like few blocks, which is kind of awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up and make it look like, I feel like this is like a little bit too robotic for me. I'm gonna get rid of my grayscale. I'm gonna get rid of my kaleidoscope. I'm gonna add a lot less pixelation. There we go, this is kind of cool. I'm gonna add exposure to sort of lighten it. And I'm gonna add tints a little bit. So this is cool because it's sort of what I would be doing in a program like Instagram or Photoshop. But this is the code that's sort of behind the scenes making it happen. I'm not sure if I like this. I think I'm gonna add my dinosaur instead. There we go. That's kind of cooler. I'm gonna move noise to the front because I kind of want it to have its own effect there. There we go. So we meet for 45 minutes. I don't know that this one's going to be as long, but usually it's going to be 45 minutes, never any longer than 45 minutes. So whoever was saying that it doesn't let you change the hex code of a color, it might be because your color isn't in quotation marks. So the color is something called a string, and if it's not in quotation marks, it's not going to work. So if I do have it in quotation marks here, it's going to let me select it and choose a hex color. If it's not in quotation marks, let me put it back. It's just going to give me an error. Red is not defined, and it's not going to let me click on it. So make sure that it's in quotation marks. Make sure if it is a hex color, it has that number sign in the beginning. Charlotte, at the end, we usually end up sharing our projects and talking about what we're doing next week. What do I put after I put in a background? Milo, after you put in a background, go ahead and click next so these blocks appear, and then drag them in to make your own sort of customized filter. So one other thing that I want to show you all is that you have the ability, oh, it doesn't let you change it. So Awesome Gamer 333, let's see. So it could be, are you an Edge? It might be because of that. The best browsers to use are Chrome or Firefox. The other option is to just replace the word. So instead of clicking on it, just go ahead and make sure it's still in quotes, but just choose a color. You can play around, see what works. Turquoise runs. Green. I think like lime might work. Yeah, so go ahead, play around with color words, see what you like best. My little brother's image won't pop up no matter what we do. What that name? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but go ahead and send me a screenshot. I just put my email in, and I'll try and help you debug. So I know I promised that I would show you how to add text as well. So the cool thing to remember is that you have, in every single project that we're going to do, you have access to the whole VidCode library. So if you want, you can use functions that we're going to learn in other tutorials, in this tutorial, in any tutorial. So here, I'm going to add an emoji, and I do that by writing the words text, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, semicolon, because this is a function, so it needs to look like all of my other functions. And then the argument I'm going to pass into it is actually a message. So go ahead and add your quotation marks because it's going to be a string, and then put your message in here. The cool thing about this too is that it takes emojis, so feel free to put emojis in. There's a bunch of sites you can use to copy and paste emojis. So like this, getomoji.com is a good site. And you can just like select one, copy it, and then go ahead and paste it into your string, and it'll appear there. And that's how you add text. In future projects, we're gonna like customize this text, we're gonna change the color, we're gonna change the font. But for now, you can go ahead and write this function, and you'll be able to add customized text to your project. When you're done and you're feeling good about it, I'm actually gonna change it around a little bit more because I want my text to like appear more obviously. So I'm gonna move vignette in front of color invert so it darkens my project. Cool, I'm feeling good about this. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and press submit. You can call your project whatever you want. And go ahead and press view your projects. And you'll end up on this page. From here, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can edit it, you can share it with someone else, and they can remix it. So you can always remix someone else's project. You can also press share your project, send someone a link, or embed it, like you would a YouTube video or something like that. My audio is taking forever to upload. It could be a really big file. You can also copy and paste your code and refresh and see if that works. So usually at this part in Club, I will share people's projects. So if you want, go ahead and share the project you made in the chat, and I'll open it up and show it to everyone. What? It just kicked me out. Okay, there's the chat. Does anyone want to share their projects? Oh no, recreate a filter, not create a filter, which we're going to go through next week, where we actually use sequencing to recreate a project. But yeah, I really like this, and I like that you figured out how to place the text as well. Let me pull up another one. Cool. So this is somebody else's, and this is Creepy Cat. Another really great project. So you can see this is another great example of using sequencing. So the text is on line 6, and then we change the color here using properties, and added pixelate on line 9 after the text. So we actually get this cool pixelation effect on Creepy Cat. And if you see here, we have color invert, but it's not inverting. And that's actually because this person called color invert, and then color invert again, which negated out the invert, which is pretty funny. So, all right, I guess that is it for today. Jeremy, that's so mean. Is that because YouTube wouldn't let us share links? All right, Rachel, try and find yours. Let me see if I see your username. Rachel, what's your VidCode username, and I'll pull up your project. Oh, cool, there it is. Is it butterfly heart? So I think this is Rachel's. I hope it's Rachel's. Aw, this is beautiful. I like that it feels very dreamy. Like we get this very dreamy butterfly. Um, Jeremy, there's no negativity in Coding Club. Yay! Oh, cool. So thank you all so much for today. Thank you for going through sort of the learning curve of YouTube. And yeah, we're going to be doing this moving forward. So let me know what you think about this format versus Zoom that we've been doing in the past. And I hope everyone has an amazing week. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone next week to do Recruit a Filter and Digital Quilt.